I think this year is my 27th year in the industry as a filmmaker. I started as an engineer, but I always wanted to be involved in film. So after my engineering studies, after I did my master's in engineering, I switched to film, went to American University in Washington, D.C. and got a films master and started with documentaries. And it was always my goal. I sort of like divided my career in my mind into two halves, the documentary half and the feature half. And I wanted to start with documentaries so I could sort of, how should I say it, broaden my horizons in terms of knowledge, culture, the world, and the technical aspects of filmmaker, being a filmmaker. So I devoted the first half of my career to documentaries, which I tremendously enjoyed and which I think gave me a good foundation in terms of research, knowing the technical aspects of filmmaking, like relationships with crew, getting to know the film markets, the sort of what happens after a film is done. And then I moved into feature films in 2007. And I've been doing feature films ever since. I haven't gone back to documentaries yet, but if a compelling subject comes up, I'm more than happy to do it. But now my focus is and has been feature films for the past 17 years. I've always been interested in intelligence movies, spy movies, and terrorism movies, because those sort of highlight the best and the worst of human nature, with people trying to stop it and people trying to commit atrocities. And it's a very dark world, shady world, and I've always been interested in reading about them, watching movies about them, and I wanted to make a film that sort of showed international intelligence and terrorism through the eyes of a country like Turkey, who are actually at the forefront of this fight, and which normally in Western movies, by Western movies I mostly say American movies, our part of the world is sort of delegated to a secondary, either a bad guy role, but we work with the Americans, we work with the Europeans in trying to prevent terrorism. So I wanted to do an intelligence terrorism movie through the eyes of Turkish characters and through my own country, Turkey. So that was sort of the initial impetus in how do I make an intelligence movie, a spy intelligence movie that is purely mine, like my cultures. So that was the starting point for Labirent. And I also wanted to make a film that would have, in terms of theme, an international appeal, that a lot of people from different countries could find elements in it. In terms of the actual themes, I think intelligence is not being able to tell the truth as often as you can. It's a shady world, dark world, and even with the people with the best of intentions, when they function in this world, they lose a part of themselves. They get contaminated. They get mud on their soul. So those were the sort of how intelligence takes away people's innocence, their private lives, their future, and terrorism destroys people from all sides, regardless of ethnicity, faith, religion, nationality. So I really wanted to humanize the victims and the people who do the actual fighting. I remember it was an honor, and it was a very, very distinct crowd. It's been about 12 years now. It's always an honor when your film is accepted to compete in a festival, and it's because the festival audience is always a very, very, especially the EQ festival audience is very informed. So I really love the conversations that happen afterwards. The awards and all those stuff in festivals are good and all for publicity, but as a filmmaker, you get stimulated with your discussions with the audience. And I remember that it was very stimulating, and I really enjoyed the banter and the conversation and the back and forth in that festival. it's funny that you mentioned Labyrinth, because Labyrinth sort of initiated my move to Los Angeles, because that film became my calling card to meet with producers, agents, managers, and sort of it paved the way for me to move to Los Angeles. And I've been in Los Angeles for 9 years now, and I've been working. I've done ever since I moved back out here. I went back to Turkey to shoot 2 films that I've directed. But in Los Angeles, I've been mostly developing my own films and TV shows. Right now, I have 3 projects that are about to go in 2025. A few might go in like 2026. One is similar to Labyrinth in terms of tone and genre. It's an action thriller that hopefully is going to be shot in Spain. Another one is a 8-part Cold War series taking place in 1981, between 81 and 83, which will hopefully be shot in Poland. And then I have a true story based on a Wall Street Journal article that I wrote the script for. It's about a sailor who gets trapped in a ship at the Suez Canal, which will probably be shot in the next 18 months or so. I think especially in this day and age, because of social media and everything is so visualized, I think visuals are very powerful. But I'm also a very strong believer in, if you don't have the foundation of a textual background to interpret a visual, the visual loses its power. So in order to really appreciate the power of the visual, I think you have to have a foundation in strong text. By text, of course, I mean reading and writing and literature and poems and everything. I think it's hard to separate them, because in order to really understand what the visual is telling you, to sort of intellectualize it, contextualize it, you have to have the tools of a textual background, right, to be able to interpret and articulate it. But because we're in such a fast-moving society, people use the visuals more effectively now than ever, and I think visual is very strong, powerful. Its power is unbelievable. It's getting and with and another thing is, with all the tools available to everybody now to manipulate the visual, that even becomes even more powerful. But that old cliche saying, with great power it also brings big responsibility, comes big responsibility. So I think, in short, I'm not going to batter too much about it, go sidetrack, but I think visuals are very powerful, and they're even more powerful now than ever. I think, because right now I'm in the second part of my career, because I'm 52. I was like 40 when I did Labyrinth, like 39 when I did Labyrinth. And now I'm sort of like the second part of my career, because I have a little bit more experience now. And I say to all future filmmakers, especially young filmmakers, a lot of young filmmakers, when they start out, have a tendency to just concentrate on the technical aspects of filmmaking. The technology, the editing, the visuals, the effects, how do I do that? But I think if filmmakers concentrate more on literature, traveling, life experiences, they will find that different experiences, the richness of their experience, will eventually set them apart as filmmakers, because they'll have more original, more unique, more distinct stories to tell. One thing that I've noticed in Los Angeles, which is the sort of the film capital of the world, right, with all the studios, all the companies, but I've come across very talented, very articulate, very knowledgeable people, but I've also come across a lot of people whose only life experiences is other films. Like, they don't know other cultures, they don't know other experiences. So what they do is just they duplicate what they've seen in other films. And even America right now, with all these new platforms, streamers and all that, they're looking for unique and original, diverse experiences and stories to be told. And the only way to tell them is to either live them, or to research them, or read about them, travel, meet different people from different parts. I think that's what a filmmaker can really, the richer the life, I think the richer the experience in making a film. Otherwise, it just becomes a technical exercise.